Come in. Hello? You need my help? Well, that's why I'm here. Give me one moment and you will have my undivided attention. Please have a seat. Terribly sorry about that. Now, what did you need help with? Balancing chemical equations. And what exactly about them are you struggling with? You've never done them before. You should have experience with balancing chemical equations from high school. Did your chemistry teacher not teach you that? Oh, I see, yes. Lazy high school teachers, the bane of college professors everywhere. Well, balancing chemical equations isn't too terribly difficult. It's much like algebra, where the yield sign functions mostly like an equal sign. I'm sure I could give you a crash course. Give me one moment. I need to track down a notebook and a pen. You know, I am glad you came to see me today, as balancing chemical equations would definitely be on the test. I've noticed that students often hesitate to seek out a teacher when they are struggling, especially first-year students. I think that they're often overwhelmed and intimidated by their professors, which is understandable. I remember my first year in college. I was terrified of all my teachers. All right. So, as I said before, balancing chemical equations is relatively simple. So, you would have Fe plus O2 yields Fe3O4. So this equation that we have here is not balanced. See, on either side we have FeO, and on this side of the yield sign we have Fe and O. Now, we have one Fe and two O's. And on this side of the yield sign, we have 3 Fe and 4 O's. Now, how are we going to remedy that? Most people want to do that. You cannot change the subscript. It is set in stone. You can add a coefficient in front of the molecules. So, we have 1 Fe on this side and 3 on this side. And because the Fe is itself, we can add a coefficient of 3. And now, there are 3 Fe's on this side and 3 on the other side as well. And now, the oxygen, there are 2 over here, and there is 4 on this side. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a 2 in front of the oxygen. So we will multiply everything behind the coefficient by 2. You see where I'm coming from? So we would now have 4. That makes sense? Alright, let's try another one. So we have Sr plus O2 yields SrO. And now, this one might be a little bit scary because on the other side of the yield sign, we don't have any subscripts. But you can add coefficients on either side of the yield sign. So the best way to do these is to look at all the elements you have on either side and look at how many you have on each side. So we have Sr and O and Sr and O on both sides of the yield sign. So on the front of the yield sign we have 1 Sr and 2 O's, and on this side we have 1 Sr and 1 O. Now, that's exactly right. We added 2 in front of the SrO on the the left of the yield sign, sorry. And so that would make the Sr 2, but that would also make the oxygen 2. So what we need to do now is to go on the other side of the yield sign and add a 2 in front of the Sr. You follow? Okay. Let's try another. Okay. Sn plus NaOH yields Na2 SnO2 plus H2. This one is going to be a little bit trickier. Okay, so what are we going to do first? That's right, we're going to write down all of the elements we have. So we have Sn, we have an Na, we have an O, and we have an H. And on the other side of the yield sign, we have an Na, we have an Sn, we have an O, and we have an H. Now, we have two H's over here, two O's over here, one Sn, and one Na. Oh goodness, sometimes I can't read my own writing. Has that ever happened to you? And on the right of the yield sign, we just have one of everything. Now, we can't just go around putting coefficients willy-nilly because we have some complex compounds here. So, we can go ahead and put a 2 in front of the NaOH, and that will turn everything in this compound into having a coefficient of 2. So the Na turns into a 2, and the O also turns into 2, and the H also turns into a 2. And now, over here, it is still unbalanced because the Na... No, I'm terribly sorry, I read that wrong. We do have 2 Na, so it is balanced. I'm an old man, you must forgive me, sometimes I make mistakes. It's becoming a little bit clearer to you now. Would you like to work through a couple more problems? Yeah, I can do that. Okay. What about K plus Br2 yields K Br? That's very right. You would put a coefficient in front of the KBr, and now you have 2 of both of them, so you would come back here and add a coefficient in front of the K. So you're very quick. Would you like me to work on another with you, or do you feel confident enough in trying some on your own? I'd like to work through one more. All right, I can do that. Let's see. We can do Sb plus I2 yields Sbi3. Now, of course, like usual, we want to plot out everything that we are working with here. So we have an Sb on this side, and an I on this side, an Sb on this side, and an I on this side. We have one Sb and 2 I's, one Sb and 3 I's on this side. Now, this one is going to be a little bit trickier. Yes, that's exactly right. We would want to find a common denominator between 2 and 3. Which is of course 6, so we would want to put a coefficient of 3 in front of the I and a coefficient of 2 in front of the SBI on this side. Unfortunately, that turns the SB into a 2, however it turns the I into a 6, and on this side we have turned the I into a 6. Unfortunately, it is still unbalanced, so we would need to stick a 2 in front of the SB, and it is balanced. Yes. Would you like to try one on your own? Yes? All right, let's see. I will give you H2 plus F2 yields HF. All right, how are you going to solve it? Yes? That is correct. We do plot out our elements. Yes, brilliant, brilliant. You add a coefficient of 2 in front of the HF. That one was a little bit easy. Would you like a little bit more challenging one? Of course, I can do that. Let's see. M2 Mg plus HCl yields MgCl2 plus H. Yes. You're going to plot out everything you have. You're a little bit stumped. That's all right, I can interject. Okay, so we have Mg on this side, an H, and a Cl. And on this side we have an Mg and H and a Cl. Now, over here we have one Mg, one H, and one Cl. And on this side we have one Mg, 2 Cl and 2 H's. So what we are going to do is stick a coefficient right here in front of the HCl, and that will change the H and the Cl to a 2, and we are balanced. Yes, it's a little bit easier when I do it because, well, I've been doing this for many, many years. Would you like to attempt another one on your own? All right. What about KCl O3 yields KCl plus O2. Do you think you can do that one? All right, give it a go. Yes, brilliant. So, what do you think? You're feeling a little bit comfortable with balancing chemical equations? Yes, it's quite simple, as I said. Once you get into the rhythm of it, you can figure them out pretty easily. So what do you think? Well, yes, I understand that you're starting at a place behind most of the other students, but you have caught up pretty well, and it's not as scary as it looks now that you've done it, wouldn't you say? Yes. Well, you can keep this sheet of paper. And you can look back on it to study. I will print you out some additional worksheets that you can do, just so you're a little bit more comfortable with dealing with chemical equations. Would you like that? Yes. I will print those out here in a minute. If I remember correctly, I think someone is using a printer right now, but I will make a note of it on my computer. Let's see, print. Okay. And just remind me after class when you see me next. When do we meet again? That would be Wednesday, wouldn't it? Yes, I believe so. Remind me after class on Wednesday, and I will give you your extra homework and stop by my office anytime you need any additional help. If you're stumped on any of the problems, you know, there's no due date, just do them at your convenience just before the exam, because balancing chemical equations is going to come up and I'd like you to be a little bit more comfortable with it. Yes, well, thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your time. I hope this helped. It did? That's wonderful. All right.